Hey, welcome back to another short snippet. Just a little snippet. Something brief, quick, short, to the point, and in response to something we've heard, we hear, um, all kinds of different sources. But tonight, we're having the fun of picking on Don Preston again. Um, in his response to Steve Gregg, no marrying, let's listen to what he has to say. Then I'm going to kind of respond to it. I hope I've got this set up correct.
This admission, ladies and gentlemen, is more than stunning. The admission that this question is based upon the continuance of the law of Moses in the age to come.
Um, Maybe I should preface this a little bit more. Okay, marrying and the resurrection. He's responding to Steve Gregg's argument, which, of course, I don't agree with. There's some big issues with that and what he's saying. But still, what Don presents is the issues of the seven brothers is just kind of silly and ridiculous. So let me set the stage for you real quick. So Sadducees don't believe in resurrection. They don't believe dead bodies are coming back to life. Nobody comes back to life. That's it. Once you're dead, it's over with. There's nothing else to anything else. That's it. And so they present this question in order to try and trick Jesus. And so they bring up seven brothers who have all died, and they've been married to the one woman. And so the issue is in the resurrection, when they all come back to life, who is she going to be married to? And that's the point of what the Sadducees are trying to make. I mean, she was married to all seven of them, so who's she going to be married? Which one of the brothers is she going to be married to? Um, is it just the first one, second one? Which one? And of course, they're trying to trip him up. And his answer back, of course, is, well, none of them, because in the age of the resurrection, when you are resurrected and brought back to life, there is not going to be any marriage for you. You don't need to be married. You're not procreating anymore. That whole idea is completely done and over with. And once you've been resurrected, because when you've been resurrected, you're now imperishable, immortal. You've been changed. You will, and this is the point I'll get out in Luke. This is you will no longer die. You cannot die anymore. Um, and oh well, let's just continue on with Don.
That is the fundamental assumption being made by the Sadducees. While Steve admits that, he doesn't examine the implications of the importance of that admission. Very quickly, a couple of things. Point number one, this no marrying or giving in marriage would be the state or the condition in, quote, the age to come. Now, here's what you have to understand. I wrote a book on this several years ago, Marrying and Giving in Marriage in the New Creation, question mark. Okay? And I go over this in great detail. What you have to understand is that it is a given among scholars, among both rabbis and biblical scholars. The Jews only believed, and Jesus only believed, in two ages. They believed in the law and in the age of Moses and the law. We call that today the Mosaic Age. They believed in the age to come. By the way, the age of Moses and the law is what they're referred to as this age.
See, you caught that. He caught himself thinking. Okay, so you got what he said, and that's the real issue of what he was saying. He caught himself. His pants are down at his knees on this one. The Old Testament. Well, when did the Old Covenant law come to an end? Well, see, he says 70 A.D. That's when the Old Covenant law. Well, what about the New Covenant? Well, that's going on. There was a transition for so 70 A.D. is when the New Covenant came, and now we're living in the New Covenant. But that's supposed to end when the new and heavens and earth come from. See, he's catching himself. Is this the new heavens and the earth, or isn't it? Because the age of the resurrection is not the new covenant age, and he knows that. The age of resurrection has to be, according to what he's trying to get across now, is 70 AD and after. That's what he's saying. Only two ages. You get that. The old covenant age, the new covenant age, or the age of the resurrection. See? So the resurrection took place in AD 70. So now we are currently living in the age of the resurrection. But see, that goes against the idea that they're also living in the new heavens and earth. Because the new heavens and earth cannot be the resurrection age. He caught himself, Pope.
The age to come was the age of Messiah and the new covenant. Are you following closely here? This age, the age of Moses and the law, the age to come, the age of Messiah and the new covenant. Third point. And again.
But say he won't call it the resurrection age like he tried to a minute ago. He caught himself, folks. He got him. You've got him. You've got him.
I point all of this out in my book.
He keeps going to the book because he's screwing it up here. This is a good point for me to make a note about this and some questions. Well, gathering some questions up. What age? How many ages are there? I got to write this down because I got to deal with that. How many ages to come? So is the resurrection age and the church age the same thing? Well, the church age, according to them, was only from 33 to 70 AD. So there is no other age after that except for what? I don't know.
Okay. Third point. The age of Moses and the law was supposed to end. It is the only age that was to end. You got to catch that. The age of Moses and the law was supposed to end, and the age of Moses and the law was the only age that was supposed to end.
So the new covenant age is not supposed to end. Remember that, folks. Hold his feet to the fire on that.
The age of Messiah, the new covenant,
which cannot be the age of the resurrection. Got it?
And the kingdom was to never end. The book of Baruch, which of course is not canonical, but nonetheless expresses the Jewish view that the age of Messiah would never pass away. Well, that's Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. In the days of the fourth empire, i.e. the Roman Empire, the God of heaven, shall set up a kingdom which shall never pass away. Well, if the kingdom never passes away, the kingdom age never passes away. Daniel 7, 13 and 14. When Christ ascended to the Father.
Wow. When Christ ascended to the Father. Did you just catch that again? Wow. He just said it. Daniel 7 and 13, 14 is about when Christ ascended to the Father. He denied that so vehemently in his discussions with Michael Sullivan. And now here he is saying that Daniel 7 and 13, 14 is an ascension. Let me go back just a little bit. You got to hear it again, folks. I'm not making this up. It comes straight from the horse's mouth.
Daniel 7, 13 and 14. When Christ ascended to the Father.
There it is.
According to Luke chapter 19, he sat down at the right hand, having received the kingdom, and it was a kingdom which will never pass away.
Wow, folks, I cannot believe that he finally admitted that. I just, it's blowing my mind that he finally admitted 17, 13, and 14. Okay, I've got to write this down too. Um, wow, this is a historical moment, folks. I don't think you catch what's going on. This is responding to Steve, Greg, no marrying. Um, this is at the 11:47 mark. Daniel 7:13-14 is the ascension. I got him. I've got him. I've got him right where. Well, I'm not going to say the other word, but I've got him by the tail. That's for sure.
Now, by the way, Daniel chapter 7, 13, 14 is not talking about the ascension. Luke 19 is talking about the ascension.
Oh! Now he doubles down. Oh, see, he just went back. He just undid it. He just just contradicted himself. Said Luke 19 is about the ascension, the parable of the triumphal entry. Jesus weeps over Jerusalem. The days will come when your enemies will set a barricade around you and surround you and then hem you in and tear you down to the ground. You and your children within you, and they will not leave one stone upon another. Notice it's not in chapter 21. And he entered the temple again to drive out those saying to him, it is written, my house shall be a house of prayer. He was teaching. Where does he get the idea that? Let's go back just to. Let's just go back just a little bit.
14 is not talking about the ascension. Luke 19 is talking about the ascension to the right hand, to the throne.
Luke 19 is talking about the ascension to the right hand. Come to this house. Well done, because you've been faithful. And the second saying, it came in. Lord, he has 10 and what to reign. From the one who is not even will be taken, but as for the others who do not want me to reign over them, bring them here. He's talking, that's about the sitting down at the right hand. Triumphal entry. Jesus weeps. See, folks, I don't find any literal type of in Luke 19.
Daniel chapter 7 is a judgment scene. When the kingdom was given to Christ, when he destroyed the little horn. I can't go on that at this particular time.
Of course, because he contradicted himself.
But this is critical. Okay? So, what's the point? Here's Steve Gregg's view. Okay, this age is just time. We're looking for, in reality, the age to come. Now, Steve equivocates on this. He understands that the law of Moses passed away. He understands that we're now living in the kingdom. But what does he do?
And the truth is we're living in it. The new covenant came in 33 AD. I want to establish this, make sure that you guys know this. Passing of the old law was on the cross in 33. Nothing further happened in AD 70. We're still living in the new covenant. Things continue as they were. At Christ's coming is the resurrection age, when those that were dead, beheaded, died, and those who were alive were raised, resurrected, and changed. And both groups met him in the air in a premillennial view to set up the millennial kingdom here on earth, and it's restored Jerusalem. What follows next after that is the judgment of the great white throne, followed by the new heavens and earth, which is again a literal of heaven and earth becoming one realm. And of course, he doesn't have that kind of a view. What he does offer is contradictory, as we're now seeing.
He says the current age, the Christian age, is the age in which marriage and marrying and giving in marriage is being practiced. Wait a minute. No, it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, what age was Jesus, number one, living in when he was talking to the Sadducees? Point number two, living in that age, which was this age, What law of marriage was into force? Oh, Deuteronomy 25, the Levirate marriage law.
And this is where he goes into complete left field. Well, in the Old Testament, of course, they had the Levirate marriage. So in the New, in this age, after the old has passed away, there is no more Levirate marriages. Um, I don't know how to explain how this is such a twisting of the real facts of that. The point they were making is that the seven brothers came alive. It's not about the fact of who was he, marriage or not marriage, if there was marriage or not marriage. What the whole point was is that who would that woman be married to in the resurrection, since they all came back to life. They cannot die again. Look at that. It's in Luke 20, of course. And took a wife after the woman had died in the resurrection. So the resurrection takes place. Therefore, whose wife will the woman be? Well, how do they define resurrection? Well, the standing again of the dead, when the dead people come back to life. That's the Pharisee view. That is what Paul said. And what did Paul teach? Christ came back to life. That is resurrection. So in the age when the resurrection takes place, when they all come back to life, whose wife will the woman be? For the seven had her as a wife. So who's going to be married to her in this age? And Jesus said, okay, the sons of this age marry and are given in marriage. You're right. But those are considered worthy to attain to the age to the resurrection of the dead, to that age and to the resurrection dead. So the age that begins with the resurrection dead, those resurrection dead, they don't get married or given in marriage. They're not. It has nothing to do with the law. There is or Levirate, Old Testament Levirate marriage. No, it has nothing to do with it. He's simply saying that they don't get married. Why? Look, folks. For they cannot die anymore. You get the idea there? If they can't die anymore, and they're still getting married, but not under the Levirate, but they're still. Then that means in the resurrection age, in the New Jerusalem, they will always be married. And is that really what Jesus is trying to teach them? Is that they will continue to be married if they can't die anymore? That's the implication. They will always be married. But no, the implication is that in the rage of the resurrection, when they get resurrected, nobody's going to be married and given marriage that are resurrected. It's just not going to happen. They're like angels, being sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. But that the dead are raised. Get this? But that the dead are raised. Those dead people, the seven brothers, that they are raised. Even Moses showed in his passage about the bush where he calls them the Lord of God of Abraham and Isaac of the living. But that the dead are raised. So Abraham, Isaac, they will be raised. See, this is so counter to what he's trying to get across here, folks.
That the Sadducees are using for the foundation of their argument and their question. Jesus was looking to the time, not to the end of the Christian age. You see, in order for Steve's argument have any validity whatsoever, Jesus had to be living in the age in which the Levirate marriage was still mandated. So according to Steve's position, logically implied, Deuteronomy 25 is still applicable now. The Levirate marriage law, excuse me. It's no longer valid today because the law passed away. Okay, then there is no marrying and giving in marriage according to the law, which is the very basis of the Sadducean argument. He is setting the context for the Sadducees' question.
He is setting the context, yes, but what you just said, how do you respond to such silliness? I don't know. I don't want more. Can go. The basis is about the law. No, it's the basis of the whole thing was, again, what? For the seven had her as a wife. So which one will she be married? And Jesus says they're not going to be married in the resurrection. If they get resurrected from the dead people who are resurrected don't get married, for they can't die anymore. For they cannot get that implication there, folks. I mean, that is so simple to understand.
And the Sadducean controversy, he's setting that entirely aside and saying, well, Jesus changes the subject from the Levirate marriage, which is the specific focus of the Sadducees. In Jesus' thought, in Luke chapter 22, Luke 20 and Matthew 22, what stood between this age and the age to come? The resurrection.
The resurrection. So if that stands between the two, then that means the dead in Christ will rise first. We who are alive are changed. Oh my. I've got my grandchild at home. And she started getting into something she shouldn't have. So yeah, my wife had to yell for me. And that was my interruption there. But let's go back here to listen to this again.
So the resurrection would lead to usher in the age to come in which the law of Moses would no longer be binding, in which the Levirate law would no longer be binding. So let me ask you a question, folks. Are you and I today, as Christians, living in the age to come that came after the passing of the law of Moses, the passing of the Levirate marriage?
But see, that's supposed to be, according to what he said at the beginning, the age of the resurrection. So, according to him, this is the age of the resurrection. It is not the new heavens and earth. It can't be both. Can it? He doesn't explain that. And I know that he cannot because it created a conundrum for him. He saw it in the video. He messed it up. His whole position there, he gave it away when he said Daniel 7 and 13 and 14 was, and then tried to use Luke 19 and say that is the resurrection. See, folks, it just doesn't work. I was listening a little bit more there, seeing if there's another point that I want to bring out, but the whole idea of he has to justify the fact that marriage continues on today, and you see that point. Because, see, he believes he's been resurrected, or they've been resurrected. I don't think he believes he's resurrected. Those group of people were resurrected. They were taken in the new covenant. Since he is born again, he's in the new covenant. And technically, how can that be then the resurrection age that follows if only those people were resurrected and nobody else was? So there's a lot of confusion in there, folks. A lot of confusion. And no idea how to reconcile any of it.
John chapter 1, 10 and following.
Okay, listen to this. You got to hear this. You got to hear
Romans chapter 6, what did Paul says? Do you not know that so many of us, as we're baptized into Christ, were baptized into his death? That like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. Okay, what did Paul say in Galatians 3, 26 and 27? Sons of God by faith, being baptized into Christ, putting Christ on. Romans 6, being baptized